Hello and welcome to the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design, where we live on the back of the Rambutan skin. This is episode number 17, at the final point of pride. I am the long-name gamer as the Sweaty.
And I am Lucho the farmer. Thanks for joining us in this episode. This week we gear up and prepare for the raid.
But before that, let's take a look at this week's news. And our guest that is back, the trilogy. So, yes.
Hello.
There he is. So, on the docket, we have Warframe Empyrean. The Game Awards happen. And, of course, we're going to check out the announcements inside the Game Awards besides the awards given to the people in the awards. The Game Awards. Yes.
Okay.
So, okay. So, let's look at the Empyrean update finally dropped. When did it drop? It dropped like at the beginning of this week?
During the Game Awards.
It dropped
Didn't we talk
during
about that last week?
Yes.
No. Yeah,
Well,
but no one was expecting to... we talked about that last week because we had a dev stream and they basically show a bunch of the systems.
Yep.
But they didn't give a release date.
Yes. Because no one expected it to be released on the Game Awards. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, so it is out. It is live.
It is live.
Like no one was expecting it to release this week.
Yeah.
Like that came out of nowhere.
Nobody was expecting it. I was like, I was surprised when YouTube started giving me advertising for the Empyrean update.
I mean, it's live. Everyone was waiting for more content on Warframe, to be honest.
Yeah. And does the meme still prevails that the console content is never coming in? It's like behind because of the patch authentication and all those steps.
Yeah, because of the certification process.
Yeah, so it's pretty sad. They don't have the update as soon as we have it on PC. But is it good, Lucho? Have you tried?
I have not. I haven't tried. I just build my
Your Railjack, yeah.
My Railjack. I still have to go
fly.
and use it. I need a crew to do it.
Woo! Are we gonna do something like that?
Yeah.
And you're gonna take me on your Railjack?
Yeah.
For a mission. Tino reinforcements. Of course, it comes with a packet of like guns and stuff.
It drops with the
usual things,
pretty
right?
much. Any major update comes with a bundle of weapons and stuff.
Yes, as usual.
That's expected. Yeah, but the big news is that at least the first version of the new shiny and big Empyrean thing finally dropped. Which
Yay! Happy! Yay!
Yay!
Excalibur Sato, what is this?
Oh, it's one of the...
Jesus.
It's a super cool Excalibur skin.
That looks crazy, man.
It looks like a samurai, yeah.
It looks insane. Insane. Oh my god.
They showed that one on TinoCon, during summer.
It looks very cool.
Yep, it looks very cool.
But
But it's a deluxe skin, so plat.
Yeah, plat. We need plat. Appearance supported pack. Twitch Prime bundle, of course. Soaring into the stars. So have you seen what is the structure of the actual missions? Is like you go into a Railjack and go and fight against another station, and then you invite it. I imagine that it's gonna be like a variety of different missions, kind of with that.
Yeah, they have different
structure.
missions. They have some that are like kill certain amount of this type of enemy or invade certain amount of this type of ships, or just like a straight up assassination thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what else, what other mission types do I have, to be honest.
All right, we have to check it out. It looks really cool, especially because it's a totally different way to play Warframe.
Yeah, and it's a completely new progression system.
Is it and is it working with the thing about like the system with that you need help from somebody in one of the planets?
I think that didn't come with this update.
That didn't come with this update. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's be like for the next update, I imagine.
Yeah, like some of the things that they show on the week, Tenocon reveal they strip them down. They need more work.
Yeah, I imagine.
Actually, Steve Sinclair made his classical release stream.
I love those release streams. I didn't know that the update was that close, because I love him just in the office, like debugging stuff.
Yeah,
it's like super cool, super endearing.
I really super nice. And
I really like those streams.
I like them quite a lot as well, and people like them because, again, he pulled thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah. And it's just fun to see him like, oh look, I'm searching for this bug, and I'm like, and oh, I found it, and oh, it doesn't want to deploy. I love that. It's just like a look into the behind the scene of what is actually involved into deploy like a big update as this. Like it's very cool.
Yeah, I was actually watching the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And I saw Rebecca come out and do the announcement and the trailer. Oh, that's pretty cool. And just after that happened,
yeah,
Steve started his stream, and I just shot that like the game's over, and like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, okay. Just want to see. I
got what I wanted.
Yeah. I just want to see how the sausage is made. Any opinions, Juliano?
Nope. I really didn't like Warframe, so there's little I can say about that.
But they did a space combat before Destiny.
They did everything before Destiny.
I know you guys love to. I know you guys love to hate Destiny, but just move on. I mean,
okay. I don't hate Destiny. I really like it. Like I was playing Season of the. I was playing Season of the.
Okay, you love to hate it. You love to hate it, which is very different.
Lucho loves to hate it.
I don't hate it. I just wish it burned in hell. That's not hate. It's out of love for the game.
There you go.
It's a game that is saying, "Kill me, please, kill me." It's out of mercy. That's all I have for Destiny.
Oh my God! Just he wants to put him out of his misery, basically.
Yeah. It's out of love.
But I really like the new season, even if it's an impression. Like even if it wasn't like game changing, it is entertaining. I find myself entertained playing Destiny 2. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I guess.
There we go. All right. So yeah, try it, the Imperium. We will try it soonish. Some point. We will try this.
Yeah. I won't have time next week, but
yeah, whenever Lucho has time, because I generally play with Lucho.
Yep.
We'll probably test it, and hopefully we can like check it out before Iceborne comes to PC.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably we have
most
to experience the thingy majingy. Yeah, it looks very cool, and as usual, this game keeps getting bigger and interesting on time. It's like, even if you like or don't like the game, it's like very interesting to actually see it grow and see what it does, right? Because of where it comes from and how it becomes what it is right now. So,
I agree. I agree. It's at least an interesting story to
to check out. Yeah.
To watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna check this because the winners from the Game Awards 2019, Lucho. So apparently it was
Yeah.
like much better than last year when it was like super in your face with the ads. This year they tone them a little bit down, but like at this point the show is like a staple of the industry, is necessary. And this one guy, the producer Jeff Keighley, single-handed keeps this show alive. He goes and makes a deal. He goes and secures that the show is well run, and etc. etc. So by now it's a tradition. So let's see. So what do you think of Game of the Year? This has been like super like disparity because the winner of Game of the Year is Sekiro. Right?
I've heard that it's an amazing game. So,
but it's a Souls-like game.
what's
that
wrong
doesn't
with
matter.
that?
It's still a good game.
Yeah,
Good.
the thing is like this. The game is really hard to play, like because it's a kind of a
Okay.
Dark Souls game.
Okay, and
And
I don't see the point with that.
yeah, me neither.
I don't know. I was very surprised it was Game of the Year. I thought that either Death Stranding or the other words were gonna win it.
No,
Sekiro got amazing reviews. Like
Yeah,
everyone was
it's a very
praising the
good
game.
Yeah. But I
So
don't know.
yeah,
it seems.
and so the issue I think with Death Stranding is that it's not it's a very divisive game,
Yeah.
right? And it's not divisive because it's difficult. It's divisive because a lot of people, myself included,
Yeah.
think that just a walking simulator is not a good game.
Okay.
So that already makes it something difficult to get behind for saying that it's a Game of the Year.
All right. Fair enough.
And The Outer Worlds is a really good game. It's a really, really good game. I'm playing it a lot this past few weeks, and it's a really good game. But it's not for everyone. RPGs are not for everyone. Sekiro is probably the most wide appeal game of the 5 that were nominated. Because I play them all.
Yeah.
The only game that I think everyone can get behind of, despite the fact that it's really difficult, is Sekiro. I mean, Control is a really good game, but it has a ton, and I mean a whole fuck ton of performance issues on everything.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta have 2080 to barely play the game, and I played it on Xbox One, and there were times when it was at like 10 frames per second. So that's a really bad thing. Death Stranding is just a walking simulator. At least for me.
Yeah,
right?
fair enough.
It's more of a movie, less of a game, and that's probably the main concern with it, that it's starting to not become a game anymore.
I heard that Death Stranding, a lot of people think is more like an art project than a game.
Yeah, it's like it's weird because the game is like this concept about connection and like this message that he wants to get about like the best way to move forward humanity is through connecting, and if you don't do that then everything is trash, and like super it's like super high ideals in terms
you can have all the high concept that you want, but like the Sekiro gameplay is solid. Like it's a really good game. So
this like
and the whole connection thing, it's not the first time that it's been done.
Yeah, but the thing is,
that's something that a few people actually know or understand. But the first game that did that was the Talos Principle. It wasn't as connected, but in the Talos Principle, you could leave messages for other gamers to find.
Yeah,
and usually you left them clues, or you left them jokes, or you left them something like that. So there was already that sense of connection, right? That's not entirely new to that.
No. But I think the interesting part is like he takes it to the extreme, kind of like he makes like the first hour of gameplay painful, so you appreciate what other players do for you when you are advancing the game and you're starting to see connections and things to move on. So he kind of like makes gameplay makes the gameplay serve his message for the game thing, and in that sense, what?
So it's artificial. You don't appreciate the stuff that other people leave for you because you actually appreciate it. You appreciate it because the game is so difficult that you need it. It's not organic. That's probably my point.
but
it's not really organic.
No, but the construction of like the help of other players is actually organic. Like you always have the choice of leave stuff behind or don't leave stuff behind.
No, yeah. No, the other side of it, the side of the user and the side of the person that appreciates it, doesn't sound organic from what you just said.
It presents itself organic. Like, of course, the gameplay of the game kind of forces you to quote unquote to be nice to other players because you know how difficult it is to traverse the actual world. But beyond that, I don't know. It's very interesting. Like it, I think it's interesting to see what he accomplished with the game, even if it's not for everybody.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I really didn't like what I saw. I'm probably gonna end up playing it anyway, but but I didn't really like it at all.
All right, for action game, Devil May Cry 5 as the winner. Well, yes,
that's
makes sense.
There's nothing. I mean, the only thing you can say about that is
yeah, of course.
Nothing comes anywhere close, anywhere near the MC5.
From this list,
I don't know. I heard that Astral Chain is really good.
Yeah, I saw Astral Chain. I saw.
But it's not the MC5. It's not the MC5. It's very
maybe
but like like the gameplay is quite interesting, and it's like super. Like it's difficult to get a hold at the beginning of the.
Yeah, but what I heard about Astral Chain is like at some point it becomes like becomes like super grindy at some point with no reason at all. And I think that was the difference. And I think that was the difference because the gameplay, like the game looked amazing, but I think that was the difference. Like the small things.
I also think that the medium may limit it a little bit. The fact that it's just for Switch maybe limits it a little bit.
Maybe that too, in the actual like popularity contest.
Even if the game is really good, that makes you feel like it could be more, it could be better.
Yeah, I get it. I get that. All right, action adventure game. Sekiro wins again. Was there any hope for Borderlands 3?
No.
Nope.
All right.
I love Borderlands 3, but no.
No? All right, fair enough. Art direction Control. Ooh, Greece is very beautiful.
Control is a very, very, very beautiful game. You could spend, I've spent like 10 or 15 minutes just walking around and watching the environments and watching the textures and watching the effects because the game is really beautiful. Again, a lot of performance issues, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the game is really beautiful.
Fair enough. Grace was like very, very cool game.
But the thing is about Greece is not as wide appeal as something like Control or Death Stranding.
Yeah, in that
because
sense,
it's an indie. Yeah, it's in the art sense. It's a little bit more difficult to get behind of.
All right, audio design, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Okay.
No idea. The sound and control. So the only thing I can say is that the sound in Control and the sound in Sekiro is really good.
All right?
It's really good.
So this is question mark because none of us play Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I've heard that the gun sounds in Modern Warfare are really good.
That could be it. The actual Foley was like really good apparently.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So maybe just give it the benefit of the doubt.
And now, community support won by Destiny 2.
Out of the things on the list, yeah, sure.
Yes, of course.
But that's because the other ones that appear there are kind of.
Yeah, like if you put here, I don't know.
There's very few games that have good community support.
Yeah,
very few.
Yeah, but if you put here, for example, I don't know, if you put here the Division 2.
I don't know why. Nah, the community support for Division 2 is not good at all.
What?
The fact that you have a Reddit and the fact that you have a Reddit and the fact that you have a couple of Ubisoft employees there doesn't make it good community support.
The community support is great.
No, it's better than the rest of the games in the list. I gotta admit. I didn't even know that Final Fantasy 14 had community support.
Me neither. But yeah, if they
it's
put the
not that
Division
good.
2,
It's,
they
it's
put the
really not
Division
that
2
good.
here, for sure it will take it. They have a show, they have
No.
constant streamers all the time. They have like the actual developers stream and give service to the community. They have like extensive patch notes discussions.
But all of the games do that now.
Not
That's
all
the
the
point.
games do.
So
What?
Not really.
no. So at least the games that are here, all of them do it. And so I think the Destiny may have won not because there's people in the Reddit and the patch notes and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but because the Destiny guys are it's been slow, but they've been listening to the community and they've been very forthcoming when something doesn't work. So when something doesn't work, they say, "Okay, we made a mistake. This is clearly not working. We're gonna try to fix it." I think what may have won D2 this award was the whole the 3 installments that Luke Smith did on the design and state of the game, because that's something that is rarely done by a game director. I mean, you almost never hear from the game directors of the game of
that's bullshit. Then put Warframe there. It's trash.
Or again,
if that's the reason, that's trash.
Yeah, put the Division 2 there. Yeah, they have
Division doesn't have that.
Yes,
Warframe
they do. They have a weekly show. A weekly show? A weekly show?
Yeah, it's bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly show.
Yeah. But
I agree.
I mean, I've seen it. I've played Division 2. I've played Division 2 and I've seen it. But what they say is very superficial. They don't go in depth into what doesn't work in the game. I mean,
of course they do.
They do.
That was the reason why they did the title of Day 6, because there was a bunch of things that didn't work in the game.
Like when they did a huge overhaul of the whole skill system because it was not working.
Yeah,
they basically showcased it in the stream with the designer, and he was explaining the decisions and the intention behind the changes.
The start intention, and then things didn't go away, blah blah blah, and he said why and not why, and the community manager who manages the show had like the straight questions: why did you did this? Why this didn't happen? Why this took so long? Blah blah blah. He always brings like the relevant designers whatever they're changing. Right, and the post in Reddit, their post on Reddit and the official forums is like huge. They go into detail in any patch they put up, or any problem that there is.
Okay, fine. The only thing I'm gonna say is that if they put Warframe there, Warframe wins totally.
And Division wins probably.
I have to agree. The Division 2, yeah, they have really good community support.
I don't think Division 2 would win, but okay.
They probably wouldn't, but they should.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand why this. I don't know. I haven't I don't know. I haven't seen that much super community connection as I seen in other games for the Destiny 2.
I agree.
Yeah. I know that they do the blog posts. They are very communicative with problems. I recognize all that, but the level of connection that other games have, if Destiny was doing a bi-weekly show about what they're gonna do, okay, right, all right, yeah, you do it. But like Warframe and Division 2 has been doing these shows for forever. Right.
So they don't do videos. They do posts every week with what's coming and with the changes and with the patch notes for each patch that comes out.
That's obligatory. You have to do posts about what changes are you bringing into the game, kind of.
No. Not when they're released. Way before they're released, they discuss the changes and they discuss a lot of stuff. And they do that every week. They've been doing. I mean, this week at Bungie has happened since probably the beta of Destiny 2.
Okay, I don't know. I've seen better things, right?
Yeah, they're definitely not the standard for me.
Yeah, I've seen. Anyways, congratulations to Destiny 2. I hope the game gets better. I still hope.
Nah.
Okay.
It's a bad game.
I insist. It has a lot of potential. Content creator of the year, Shroud. Who is Shroud?
No idea.
Who are these people?
No idea. Absolutely no idea about who any of those are.
Fortnite streamers?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They're probably Fortnite
I've heard
streamers.
about Dr. Lupo. I know that he's a Fortnite content creator. That's it.
I've heard of Shroud because the guy makes a lot of money, but that's probably all I've heard of him.
He's a CS player.
CSGO player?
Oh, that's even worse.
Why?
Why?
I would have preferred him that he did a Fortnite at CSGO.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Not at all.
No.
From my point of view,
like I saw at Counter-Strike, but I respect their players.
Yeah.
No. So from my point of view, CSGO is a game that should either evolve into something better or just die.
CSGO has been evolved. Yeah, it's been evolved. Like CSGO, like Global Offensive, changed a bunch of things and modernized the game. And the game is like very good because of that basis.
Global Offensive release?
2008.
Right? See, the game hasn't changed in 11 years.
Yeah, but like why? Like
why
like,
do you want to change it?
Yeah. It's a military shooter, like tactical military shooter that's been operating for years.
I mean,
it offers a perfectly balanced environment for the people that enjoy that.
Yeah.
So it knows its target audience.
Oh my god.
I would say that in that regard, Rainbow Six Siege is better. And it's much more modern than CSGO.
Okay, but that's your opinion.
Yeah,
that's people taste. Enjoy playing CSGO. Yeah. And they've been doing it for years. Like, if it is not broken, why do you want to fix it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a game that's always been popular.
Yeah. That's true.
It's not for me or you, but
definitely not for me.
But like
people really like it.
Yeah, it's really nice. All right, Esport coach Sonic. This is from
no idea.
The Overwatch League. He coaches the San Francisco.
Anything. I think we should just keep the whole esports thing because I don't know.
Esports event, League of Legends World Championship winner, of course. Of course, they're gonna win. Like, they have the biggest, most expensive show every year.
Yeah, no one cares about that.
They created the whole thing, so
yeah, they created a whole esports show thing, so it makes sense that they win. And like, I really like the song that they did for this year's championship. Anyways, esports game of the year, League of Legends. Ooh.
Sure, then you should.
I don't know. I was expecting at least Overwatch 2. No, but Overwatch was kind of like harsh this year, the past year. In terms of player base, no, in terms of the actual league was actually decent, but
I'll give you something. The Overwatch League is always fun to watch.
Yeah, there we go.
But playing the game, like, there's just a huge disconnection between watching the league and playing the game.
Absolutely. That's the big problem of Overwatch right now.
Yeah.
That is, and like between playing, and that's the thing about League of Legends. Between watching League of Legends and playing League of Legends, there's like no disconnect. Like, you understand.
Yeah,
if you play the game,
it's probably a closer experience than what Overwatch offers.
That's the thing, yeah. Esports host, Josh, I think he's a host from the European League of Legends league. European, the European side of the League of Legends.
She's a woman.
She's a woman, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, like,
a woman.
I don't know if it's the name, if it's her name, or if it's the nickname. Because
that's a nickname.
The name is something I can't pronounce.
All right, fair enough.
EFJ.
Yeah, but it's from the European thingy. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, she's from Belgium.
Yeah.
So it says that
the ELCS.
She was a competitive player for Unreal Tournament 99. Okay.
Yeah. Esports player Booga winner. All right. I know who is Faker. I know who is Perks.
I've heard of Faker. Yeah.
I know who is Sinatra.
I have heard of Sinatra. That's the only one that I recognize.
Yeah.
I've heard of Faker and Sinatra, but Booga, I have no idea.
Booga, I think he's a tank from the Overwatch League, if I'm not wrong.
Booga?
Yeah. Booga, nope.
Look for Fortnite.
Fortnite player?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's
Fortnite
streamer for Sentinels. Oh, World Cup solo winner. Oh, that name.
Yeah, that's the
that makes
guy,
sense.
the little guy who like who
Oh,
won a bunch of money,
he's
no?
like 14, right? 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Now I know who he is.
The
Okay,
esports
makes
team,
sense.
G2 Esports,
Yeah.
great organization, has a bunch of things
Yeah.
everywhere.
It's
Family
really big.
game.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Fighting game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, of course.
it's the best one right now. Yeah.
No, don't care.
Fresh indie game, Disco Elysium. I've heard a bunch of these.
I've heard that this Coliseum is really good.
Yeah, but like, I hope for like I play Slay the Spire, is very cool. And of course, the meme of the year, Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah, but that's just a meme. That's not an actual.
Meme of the year. Game director, Death Stranding winner, of course. Of course, they have to give like.
Yeah, you had to give someone to Kojima-san.
Yeah, you have to give.
That's mandatory.
Game for Impact, Grace, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Life Strange was a good second place, I would say. Independent game, Disco Elysium again.
Mm-hmm.
Katana Zero. Mobile game, Call of Duty Mobile. Why?
Because it makes a lot of money.
Because I don't know the other ones.
Like, who plays these games?
That too.
Grinsome, Sayonara, Wild Hearts.
No one knows the others. That's probably just an ad.
Man, yeah, the mobile games is a real place. Multiplayer game of the year, Apex Legends. Tom Clancy's Division 2 was
Apex
here.
is...
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Apex is a good game.
But it's not that good.
But for
Apex is a really good game.
Yeah, it's a really good game. We try it. We
But
try.
it's not
I
that
try. We played a bunch.
What do you mean it's not that good?
It's not a cup of tea.
So
but
out of those,
Yeah.
I probably would have chosen Borderlands.
No.
Because
Chelsea
it's full,
Division
so
all the time, hands down.
Yeah.
No, I would have chosen Borderlands because Borderlands is a lot more accessible and it's a lot more well-rounded.
I disagree. Apex Legends is more accessible. Like you just hop in, it's probably like a 15-minute round, and you don't have to be prepared or anything. Just go and do your thing.
Yeah, but the thing about Apex and the Fortnite and all of those battle royales is that at some point those games become very toxic, and I don't think Borderlands has. I don't think that has happened to Borderlands. Maybe not yet. Maybe it will happen in the future, but it hasn't happened yet.
Any game that has PvP becomes toxic.
That's what I meant by accessible. And every PvP only game becomes toxic.
Any game with a PvP environment, the PvP environment becomes toxic.
Yeah, totally. That's what I said. Borderlands was better because it's a lot more. So one of the great things about multiplayer, for me at least, is being able to come into a multiplayer game to a PvP game and not being yelled at by a 12-year-old.
No, but that's the experience.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
That's part of the experience.
Some guy killing you and teabagging your corpse. That's what PvP is.
It happens in every PvP.
It is, but it shouldn't be.
Like, why not? That's fun.
Yesterday,
it's fun when you're on the giving end.
It's part of the experience. Like yesterday, I was playing World of Warcraft, and I was like questing, and there was a rogue around, and he killed me like 3 times and teabagging me. And that's it. And I had to wait for him to live.
But it's also fun when you're on the giving end. Like,
yeah, of course. When you kill somebody, you're like, yes, I killed this.
It becomes toxic. I agree. I don't think. I think Apex is a really well-rounded game.
Yeah, in that sense, yes.
It had a really good launch, undeniably. And it has a stable community now, so...
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong. I would have chosen the Division 2, but they have had more problems throughout the life of the game.
Division is not accessible at all. That's probably...
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying I would prefer the Division because I prefer the Division as a game.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a lot of problems. Like they've been having a lot of like balancing stuff and problems and throughout the life of the game. Well, Apex just came. It had a huge spike of people, and then it built its community. And it seems that they're not running that much into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It seems like a fair pick to me.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
And from the narrative standpoint, yeah. So this collision, we have to play that game, right? At some point.
I already bought it. I already bought it.
The other words in Death Stranding behind and Innocence behind and Control behind seems like it's like very strong. Ongoing game, Fortnite. What is the ongoing game?
That award should be named. That award should be named the Fortnite Ongoing Game Award.
No, this is the live service award.
The very beginning.
Isn't it like the live service award?
Yeah, it's the live service award, but that award was made for them.
Yeah.
That shouldn't even be a category.
All right. Performance in games. Mads Mikkelsen in Death Stranding. Absolutely, that guy is a great actor. Like beyond that, he was in a game or not.
I haven't seen his performance. So I've
seen all the trailers, and I've seen him in Hannibal, and I've seen him a bunch of things, and he's like a great actor.
Yeah, but remember that this is about Death Stranding. This is not about all of the other things that the guy has done.
I know. I'm just saying.
No, so Laura Bailey for the win.
And really, Laura Bailey? You like Laura Bailey from Critical Role?
I saw Matthew Paredes and Courtney Hope's performance in Control. That they're both really good as well. I wouldn't know until I play Death Stranding. I would give that award to Matthew Paredes for Control.
Laura Bailey all the time. She's the voice of Jaina.
Laura Bailey for the win.
Yeah.
She's the voice of Jaina. That's all I have to say. That's I raised my case.
Roleplay game, Disco Elysium. Wow, Disco Elysium went very good. This game.
I don't know. Maybe the Outer Wilds would have won.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Outer
Wilds is really good. I haven't played Disco Elysium yet, so I can't say. But out of the ones that I've seen there, Outer Wilds would have won in my book.
Monster Hunter all the way.
No, Monster Hunter doesn't deserve it.
Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, take my money. Monster Hunter, take my money.
If you disagree with that, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
In this forum, we'll plant our flag in Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Let's just move on. You guys way too biased.
Score music. Death Stranding, of course. It's like really cool music. Mm-hmm. Sports racing game. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel.
Sure. I looks like racing games.
From all these, the best racing game that I played from all this is Dirt Rally 2. Dirt Rally is always a great game. A great race game.
No idea there.
Yeah, it's very cool. But no idea what is this. Strategy game.
The last racing game that I played was probably...
What? Some Need for Speed?
Need for Speed.
Probably.
Yeah, of course.
I think the last one.
Most Wanted. I think it was the last one.
The last Need for Speed game I played was the one that I played in your house, former LNG. The one that was just called Need for Speed like 5 years ago that was super realistic that no one liked. Do you remember that one?
Yes, there was like a reboot. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
that one sucked. Yeah, that one.
Yes, that one. Yes.
I think that the Most Wanted, the Need for Speed, the older games are good.
Yeah.
They just
I think
went crazy at some point.
Most Wanted or Carbon were really good, and everything after that is just shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I love the Deer Rally series. They're really good. I have a bunch of their games.
No idea. Never played that.
But it's like it's a very particular taste because of the way the game is structured. Anyway, strategy game, Fire Emblem. Yep, Fire Emblem.
No question. Yeah. No question.
VR game, Beat Saber.
No, Tropico 6.
Tropico 6?
Shut up.
I love the Tropico games.
Shut up.
I love them. They are amazing.
About Fire Emblem. Everyone has talked about Fire Emblem until their death.
Because they haven't played Tropico. Because they don't know how it feels to be a dictator on a Caribbean island.
Oh my God.
They don't know what the meaning of being El Presidente.
El Presidente. Oh God. Anyways.
Out of ignorance.
To finish in this VR AR game is Beat Saber. Well, it's
I
a
haven't
meme.
played that one, but a lot of people say it's really good.
You haven't seen Beat Saber? Is the one with the songs?
No, I haven't played it. I haven't played it. I've seen it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, of course.
But
a lot of people say it's really good.
It's fun.
Well, true, that's correct. Anyways, and that's it for the winners. It was very interesting. I'm very happy about Elysium. We have to try it. And the one of Destiny, of course. And Sekiro for winning Game of the Year. I think that's very good for the whole industry. That style game wins. And for the big announcements, finally, of this, we have the new Xbox X Series, which people are going to call
Series
Xbox X.
Series X.
People already call it Xbox X. That's it.
XSX.
Xbox X. That's it. And the funny part is like, it's just like a computer tower.
PC Master Race the new shit out Xbox.
I mean, it's Microsoft. They were bound to make something like that.
It's just a computer tower, new Xbox X. It's just a computer tower by now. Like they're like, all right, yeah, we go in. And then
if you're gonna buy a computer, build your own computer.
Yes, but people is lazy.
I know that people are lazy, but that's just a fact.
Yeah, but people is lazy.
I still think that they're probably, besides the look, they're probably gonna have something up their sleeve. I don't think it's just a computer and that's it.
I hope it's just a computer and people will stop buying consoles.
Computer.
I really don't.
It looks just like a computer.
Yeah. But I think that it has to be more than just.
It's probably just a computer, dude. Like, but at this point, at this point, Xbox just give up.
What do you want to put there that a computer cannot do?
That's the thing. They're all computers. So what you would say
the
same thing about your phone.
There you go.
You would say the same thing about your phone. They don't buy a phone. You would say the same thing about the Switch. You would say the same thing about
and I do.
PS Vita.
The Switch. The Switch has a place because it's portable.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same. The computer does the same thing. That's why you have laptops.
No, but we're talking about gaming.
Yeah, we're talking about gaming.
Buy a laptop that has a way better graphics card than a normal PC, and that what the Switch would ever do.
No, but you can.
It's the same argument.
But you can take a Switch and like if you're in the airport, you put it there, and it offers an easy experience. Like you just pull it out of your pocket, you do your thing for half an hour. And then you
can do the same thing. You can do the same thing with a laptop.
Nah, you cannot.
And trust me, I have a Switch. So trust me, I know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing in the very end.
Anyways,
the Switch is really not good. Performance is not a good thing for the Switch.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it has more of a place in my head than a traditional console. That it's something that you just leave collecting dust in your in a room, like something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
All right. And for the next thing is the second part of Senua's saga, Hellblade 2, which
the trailer looks insane.
It looks insane. The game is like
that's the point of the whole saga.
Yeah, Hellblade is insane, and there's the point of the whole saga, and the trailer looks like it's more insanity, which is good.
That trailer looks really interesting.
It's really cool. The game is really cool. And we have Godfall, which is okay. It ends with like PlayStation 5, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bravely Default 2.
Bravely Default. I have never heard of that game.
It's a very cool RPG. Like it's a JRPG. There you go.
Are always good.
They're always good. And the first one was really good. So there you go. Wild West from the creator of Dishonored. Weird West. Which they're very good. Like the people who make Dishonored are very good. So probably keep an eye on this game.
Arcane is a really good studio. Yeah.
Yeah. We have something about League of Legends. Another
Riot
of the bazillion
money.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
They don't know. By this point, they don't know what to do with their money anymore. Probably like already building, like making, I don't know, like paint out of the money and painting the walls with money. Apparently, because they have like 500 projects undergo with a bunch of money investing all of them.
They gotta waste their money in something.
And then
At some point.
And then the supposed like the supposed I don't know. The next
the
game,
spiritual successor to
thank
Baldur's
you.
Gate.
There you go. The spiritual successor of Baldur's Gate, the Dark Alliance, which looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A game that's called Prologue, and nobody knows what it is.
By the guy that made PUBG.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why anyone would give money to that guy to make a game, but
yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, he was like terrible. Like the story of the
the game is really bad.
PUBG is like awful.
The game is really bad.
Yeah, they say some announcements or release dates, which is nice. Especially Ori and the Will of the Wisp. That game is so good. And they finally did a Fast and Furious game.
I'm looking forward to Control's expansion because that's that game is really good. I will keep saying it forever. That game is really good, and the expansion is probably going to be something amazing.
And of course, they put the coming in Final Fantasy VII remake for someday.
At some point before the end of the universe.
Yeah, but I don't know what's happening with the remake, if he's ever gonna launch or like it's taking forever.
I don't know. I hope it launches. I like that game.
I don't think it's ever gonna launch.
I don't know. It's like very.
It's way too big of a project.
Hopefully, but the game is like so iconic that they have to do such a spectacular job. I don't know. Too many expectations. Is my point. Humankind, which is a really curious game about evolution and stuff. Another Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And Magic Legends, which is an MMORPG about Magic the Gathering, and it's like, why?
It's a what?
It's okay.
It's an RPG of Magic the Gathering.
RPG?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an MMO.
What do you play as?
As a Planeswalker.
As a Planeswalker?
Yes.
Planeswalker, yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting, but like I haven't seen anything like this. Was the first time that we heard about it.
Oh, okay. So there is no info about this.
No.
I think they announced. I think there was a rumor like 3 or 4 months ago about that game.
No, there was a rumor. There was a rumor that somebody was developing a game about Magic, but.
Yeah, I heard that rumor as well. That could be anything.
That could be anything. That could be a phone game. That could be anything. That could be anything.
No, but I remember that someone said that it was an MMO.
Yeah, it's an MMORPG.
I never heard that, and if LNG hasn't heard it, it's probably.
Yeah, it's an MMO. Like this after this teaser trailer command is an MMORPG. That's what they're saying on the waves of Magic in the channel in the channels of Magic. That is going to be an RPG.
It sounds interesting. It piques my interest because I like Magic.
Like the things like the lore of Magic, it gives that platform like really interesting things to do, because when you play Magic, all the thing that you do is like pull monsters from different planes of existence, right? So you have this huge potential of like going to a plane and then questing. Like if we're thinking in terms of World of Warcraft, going to a plane and questing in that plane, and then you teleport to another plane which has a totally different narrative, story, monsters, etc., etc. So the opportunities for the game in terms of the lore that Magic has to offer are huge.
I agree with that. The lore of Magic is quite rich, and it'll be interesting to visit some of the iconic places. Yeah.
So they have a huge opportunity. How the game is gonna turn out, we will have to wait and see. Probably 2 years. If this is gonna be an RPG, MMO, probably a year, something like that.
We'll see.
It says that it's going to be an MMO ARPG.
All right, action RPG.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
That's fine.
Kind of same principles. And then Naraka Blade Point, which is okay. And then 9 to 5, which is a weird thing with bunnies because people is weird. No More Heroes.
Everything
3.
with bunnies is weird.
I thought this franchise died with No More Heroes 2 because No More Heroes 2 was not that good.
But I've heard that a lot of people like it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that good as iconic as the first one. Apparently, it was not. If I'm saying anything, about it.
It doesn't have to be as iconic as the first one to be successful.
Well, like I was surprised that they were gonna go for a third part. There's much, like, how much are they gonna like extend the premise? But anyway, I digress. Then a DLC for Apex Legends, the Season 3 announcement.
It's actually an event. It's actually an event, not a DLC.
The event thingy. Sons of Forest, which, okay.
Looks creepy.
Yeah. Surgeon Simulator. Oh my god.
Simulators will always exist.
Yeah.
They will always be weird.
The Wolf Among Us, did they sell to somebody or they did revive Telltale game for this?
No, they sold the IP to an investment group, and the investment group wanted to get the employees from Telltale back, but they wouldn't go back. So I think this is a different. I mean, it's the same studio, the same name.
Yeah, Telltale
but the people
series.
that are making it are all of them are completely. Yeah, it's not the same people.
Because this series, I think, is the most interesting that they've done in the genre, right? Because it's not based in anything. It's not based in any previous. It's their IP, and it's super interesting because it's a dark noir mystery. As I describe, it's like a dark noir mystery world full of fairy tales in the modern era. Right? And you are the wolf from Riding Hood. You are the detective.
That sounds overcomplicated to me.
It's super cool. Like I played the first one and it's super cool. The story is super cool. But so I'm surprised because I thought Telltale game was dead. And those are all the announcements. So I think we're hyped for the Magic Legends thing. Hopefully they do something cool, right?
That piques my interest. I like Magic, so
yeah.
So and if anything on that IP will always pique my interest.
Yeah. And the Final Fantasy, hopefully they do it. What else? The
that's more of a wish than.
Yeah, hopefully the Senua, the new game from Dishonored 1 and 2 great games. And and the computer. I'm sorry, the Xbox Sex.
Just get a computer.
All right, that's it for this week's news, boys. So we're gonna move on to a deep dive.
Let's move on.
We're gonna continue our discussion about the end game, right? So first, the disclaimer: discussion here is based on our opinions and our own in-game experiences as gamers, as developers, as humans. So take it with a grain of salt. And I hope you like the discussion. And that's the disclaimer. So this is part 2 of our endgame discussion. We're gonna start with the definition that we ended up last time, so people know where we left. Endgame for us, as the discussion coming in, is a clearly designed activity with an aspirational goal. That's the definition that we ended up last podcast.
Yeah.
So let's begin with something under that umbrella. Let's begin with something like not as heavy. I'm gonna tell what's our experience with endgames. So let's begin for I don't know, the one that let's begin from Juliano. Tell us your experience in endgames, Juliano.
Okay, so my experience with endgame activities in games has been, I don't know, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it requires too much commitment for very little gains.
Okay.
I don't know if you get what I mean by that.
Yeah. What kind of experience of endgame have you?
What games is also important to you?
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was gonna get into. So the two games that I've played the most endgame, so to speak, from 3 actually, have been Diablo 3, right? It was around season 6 or 7 maybe, so it was a long time ago. It may have changed a lot from that time.
Yeah.
Division 2 mostly on Xbox, not as much in PC, mainly on Xbox.
Yeah.
And Destiny 2.
All right.
Right? And the 3 games So they have a really good, what you consider end game, right? End game activities and end game goals.
Yeah.
And out of the three, the only one that I feel like it's well designed, that it really has an intention behind it, is Diablo 3. So for Division 2 and for Destiny 2, I feel like the end game was just tagged along because you have to have this because it's a live game. But it's not something that is actually well designed, and it's something that is actually aspirational. When it comes to Destiny 2, getting to the raid and doing the raid, it's really good the first time you do it. After that, it just becomes an exercise in let's repeat this thing over and over so that I may get the item that I'm missing.
All right.
And that's it. And in Division 2, I'm just chasing numbers that don't have a very good intention behind them, besides just the numbers. Because the Division 2 rates are not, they don't have anything that is particularly well designed in them. Case in point, the fact that you could only complete them on the very first 48 hours in PC, because the raid was clearly designed just for PC. And that's it. Diablo 3 is the only one that I think has a really good endgame that has been really well thought of.
All right.
That's my experience with the endgame.
All right, Lucho?
Yeah. Yeah, I played a bunch of Diablo 3, so I have experience with that. Also Division 2. Although I really like the raid in the Division 2. It's a relaxing experience. What else have I done? I have raided quite a bit in WoW. That's fun.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Yes.
That's another one that we did actually a bunch of things at the tippy top end of the game.
Yeah.
And aside from that, probably nothing else. Although I don't play that many games at the same time. Yeah. Sadly, Warframe doesn't have really an end game.
Yeah.
More than playing dress up dolls, which I like quite a lot, actually.
Which is a true end game.
It is. I mean, like
under our umbrella, no. But
yeah, sadly not. But I like collecting stuff.
Yeah.
So I enjoy. That's hashtag my end game for a lot of the games that I play. Actually, just collecting stuff.
Yep.
I am a collector, so
yeah. There we go.
That's not the only one. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I play a lot of Diablo 3 endgame, like chasing those leaderboards for 3 seasons in a row. I think it was like 9, 10, 11 in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Were the seasons where I went really hard on it, and I was chasing I was pushing keys, and I was farming like a crazy person and pushing those leaderboards at the best of my abilities. And then what other endgame? The Division 2 endgame. I went and do my build stuff and tackle the hardest content and try to go and do the raid. And the Destiny 2 endgame, I experienced pieces of the Destiny 2 endgame. Say, well, I'm the tippy top of what is to collect and what is left to do. I haven't done that many raids, unfortunately, but it's because things happen. But if I could do raids, I'll probably do it. And in Monster Hunter World, of course, I think that's one, like, between that and Diablo 3 are being like the most deep that gone into a game. Like, we did a lot of in-game stuff in Monster Hunter World 3, and we're like very well geared up. Like, the things that we were left to do were like few little like events or like limit things to do and grind properly. But beyond that, we went pretty far with the game.
Yeah, at the end in Monster Hunter, then the things that we were left to were like special events that we're coming just to a rotation to PC, or that we missed for some reason when they were up.
Yeah.
And those were the things for us left to chase.
Yeah, just for that. Just for that. And I think that's it in terms of endgame that I play, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm beginning to see the one of World of Warcraft, but I cannot say that I'm on the endgame.
I mean, you could also, I mean, we included PvP as a form of endgame, and there I guess you can say that
I've seen the Magic the Gathering PvP.
No, but you play Overwatch, like you try to climb in some of the seasons.
Yeah. I tried to.
You play LOL, and you were trying to climb in one of the seasons.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So that's a thing.
Yeah, that's technically a PvP endgame that I've like participated on like really actively.
I wouldn't call that endgame. I wouldn't call that endgame because that's not a so. There's no difference between what you do on your first 30 minutes of the game and what you do in gaming.
The difference is the climbing up the ladder, because you can play these games on quick play or whatever the thing, and you get to experience the mechanics, but you don't get to be part of you don't get to engage in like the team coordination aspect of the game, which is the actual important thing.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. That's going back to what we discussed last week. That's not design of the game. That's not something that at least from my point of view. So from my point of view,
it is, because they have the ladder and they have the rank for you to climb up.
No. Let me finish. So Riot and Blizzard didn't design the team structure. They designed the game. They designed the fights, and they designed the levels and all that stuff, right? But they didn't design the whole player thing when you have to go and coordinate with 5 other people, and when you have specific roles and all that stuff. That came out of the players.
I disagree. Overwatch was designed from the ground up
to be a team player.
To be a team, they designed they separated the heroes in classes, and they told you, like even when the game launched, and you will have a team only with DPS heroes, the game will tell you, you don't have healers, you need healers, or you don't have tanks, you need tanks.
And like the fact that it's designed
but is that something aspirational?
Climbing up the ladder, yes.
Climbing up the ladder, it is aspirational.
It's an aspirational goal. Having a rank is an aspirational goal.
Like you want to be top 500 in Overwatch,
gold or platinum, whatever. It's a clear aspirational goal to be a rank, to have a rank of X. And it's clearly designed for that.
So,
like the ranks.
I feel like I feel like that would change the definition, or that would change the actual word, because that is not end game. That is not something that I've done after I've done the game, so to speak. That is the only part of the game. So the whole thing will be end game.
Because you can play like in Overwatch, you can play arcade all the time.
Yes.
You can only play quick play.
Yeah, and there's people who only do that.
And that's the whole thing that the game has to offer in terms of mechanics. There is no more than what you see there.
That's cherry picking. Because you're saying that because I don't want to engage with the end game doesn't mean that it is an end game. So the whole game was designed with that in mind, but I choose not to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if you guys want to change the definition,
people don't have to like.
I don't see a conflict.
Yeah, people don't have to play a game to get into the ladder, or to decide to say that I played the entire game. You don't have to go into a ladder, right? It's
no.
It's like a very small piece.
No. That's the thing. So that's the only purpose of the game.
Being a competitive game? No, the game is still a game.
No. The only game. So the only purpose of Overwatch and League of Legends is competing against other people, which is the actual end game. The game, the
No.
is-
The
No.
ladder,
There-
the ladder competitive, the competitive side of the PvP game is where defined as the end game, because there is where the aspirational goal exists, right? The games, of course, are PvP because by the nature of the design, they're PvP. You're fighting against other players, but the majority of the time, a lot of people who enters to those games, they enter to have fun fighting against people, not with the mentality to win, right? That's why people don't play on PvP Serious Ladder, because the goal becomes something else differently. The goal stop being having fun or experience the game, the combat in the game when you're fighting against, and it's like to win however you can, right?
I don't know, the whole I want to play a competitive game, because not in the competitive playlist, a competitive game not to win. That sounds contradictory.
It happens.
No.
That sounds. I want to play a game versus other people, but I don't want to win.
No, you just want to
It's
have
not
fun.
that you don't want to win. It's that you really
don't care.
don't care. Like,
Yeah,
if
if
you
you
lose,
win
like,
or
okay.
lose, there is no it doesn't affect you. You're
There are
experiencing
no
the game.
stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you. You're experiencing the
Okay.
game, and there's a bunch of games that have mechanics when they reward you. They reward you either if you lose or win.
Okay.
Right? They give you points.
Fine.
They give you loot boxes, whatever, and you
Fine,
are
fine.
experiencing the game. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but once you enter like a ladder or an environment like that, like there are stakes, like
Yeah.
falling down the ladder and like losing.
Yeah, and they give you a
Rank
clear
thing.
badge of where in the ladder are you, and it always be presented to you, right? It's like it becomes an aspirational goal to be higher on that ladder, to have like more
Fine.
status over other players.
Fine.
Yeah. All right. So, in all those end games that we experience, I think we can discuss several of them. Like I think not all of them are. I think I'll disagree on the fact that Diablo 3 was designed with an end game in mind, and this is my point. A lot of these games were designed with an end game in mind, and others were not. Right? Even if the mechanic exists inside of them. So, and what I mean is like, I will take the example of the Division 2. Since the Division 2 launch, they've always been saying that the game was designed to service the end game, right? And I will put in contrast to Diablo 3, where the game was not designed to service an end game, was just designed to be Diablo 3, to be an RPG when you have fun and collect items, right? And why does the design with the end game in mind works for the Division 2? In your opinion, we all have experienced Division 2.
No, it doesn't.
What do you think, Lucho?
Because there's no aspiration behind it.
What do you mean there is no
What do you mean
aspiration?
that there's inspiration?
What should I aspire to in the Division 2?
To get the badge
It's like
for
having bigger
finishing the
numbers.
raid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happened with Destiny. That's something that I do once.
Yeah.
I aspire to something that isn't. So that's the whole thing behind the aspirational thing. The definition of something being aspirational, it's something that is very difficult to have and something that you have to actively fight to keep. Something like a ladder, something like a rank in a PvP game or something.
They're trying to keep.
That's the actual definition of what aspirational.
No. They're
That's not
trying
me.
to keep
That's not me
part. You're
saying
tagging that.
Yeah. They're trying to keep something is not necessary. If you aspire to something, the fact that you get it doesn't mean that it's gonna like not be like it doesn't mean that it's like the fact that you or me or people gets it doesn't mean that it stops being aspirational. Right?
Yeah, it does, because you already have it and because it's not difficult.
Then you wait for the next thing.
That's the point. That's the point. That's exactly the point. I don't aspire to something that is way up there and something that is a badge of pride. I
Why
aspire
not?
to something that is easy to do, or something that is very so something that is doable by a good part of the population.
Oh no, I completely
no.
disagree with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Raids and that sort of in-game is done by
That's
like
supposed to be for the a small part of the player base.
and if you see
But is that because the mechanics are difficult, or is that because it's really difficult? find the number of people that you need to find to be able to do it.
A bunch of those.
So that's my personal opinion. So that's the whole problem that I have with both Destiny and Division raids.
Yeah,
but
I don't feel like they're mechanically difficult. Something like the World of Warcraft raids would be. Something that really requires
you
something
can
really big.
No, I disagree. You can make the argument that even the Warcraft raids, once you learn the mechanics, are actually quite easy to do.
Yeah.
Like if you have the 10 people that all of them know the mechanics, it's gonna go smoothly. Like
yeah.
So that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
But there's nothing wrong with
10
that.
people. So you need to have 10 people that all know the mechanics, right?
Yeah, and in
With
Destiny you have to have 6 people who all know the mechanics.
No, actually, that's something that is very easy to dispute, and is the fact that if you can find 3 people that can do a raid with just 3, so the activity was designed for 6, right? But if 3 people can do it, then it's not that difficult.
It's because
and that's the same thing that happens with and that's the same thing that happens with Division. The activity was designed for 8, right? But if 4 people can do it, then it's not that difficult.
No,
it has to remain the activity, from my point of view, has to remain difficult at all times. If the requirement is 10, then you shouldn't be able to do it with less than 10. Or if the requirement is 6, you shouldn't be able to do it with less than.
In any endgame, that's impossible to do.
Yeah.
If you're chasing something that remains difficult constantly, with evolution games that have endgame, is impossible.
No, right? Especially this type of PvE activities.
Yeah.
Like at some point you're gonna just outgear them and you're gonna stomp through them.
The thing about inspirational.
I wouldn't agree with that. And I would use Diablo 3 again as an example.
Yeah, but Diablo 3
doesn't have a design endgame per se. The game doesn't serve. The Diablo 3 game doesn't. That's what I was saying. Like the endgame of Diablo 3 doesn't serve. The game doesn't serve the endgame of Diablo 3, right?
Then what are all the ladders for?
The leaderboards?
Because Diablo 3 has a lot of
ladders. But the game
people climb them all of the time.
Yeah, but all right. The point of the endgame is you always have an inspirational goal. The fact that you get to that aspirational goal doesn't mean that the aspirational goal is going to disappear. It's going to be another one. I'm going to do the next raid. I'm going to do the next dungeon, etc., so on and so forth. That's part of the nature of the endgame, right?
Also, like for example, I would like to know what percentage of the
population
people that play Destiny or the Division have completed.
It's like
a raid.
Generally, when they put the numbers out, it's nothing. It's like 10%.
It's less
5%
usually less than 10%.
The population.
Usually less than 10.
Yeah, there you go.
That's aspirational. Yeah. Like it's something that just a really small group of the player base
get to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and that's something that both the Division developers and Destiny developers have said. This isn't aspirational because it's difficult. This is aspirational because getting all the people together to do it is very difficult.
No.
And that is not designed. That wasn't designed in the game. It wasn't designed so that finding the people was difficult. It wasn't designed to be that difficult. It was designed so that you would need to have the people.
No. They have never said that. Like what they say is that you need a team of people to do it. And maybe getting the people.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing. It's not something that is difficult because the game makes it difficult. It's something that is difficult because you need a lot of coordination outside of the game to do it.
What's wrong with that?
And that isn't part of the design.
And what's wrong with
Yes, of course it is.
Part of the design.
Part of the in-game, part of that is that there's a bunch of factors that makes that goal difficult to obtain. That includes getting the people to it, getting the gear to it, getting the time to do it, right? And that keeps the goal aspirational because
how do you explain the fact that After I do it once, twice, 3 times, I can do it with half the people that I did it the first time with.
Because you're in the
Because for
1%.
RPGs, you're out gear for the content.
You're in the 1%.
But those games, no, but that's the thing. It's not, you don't need to have a completely different set of gear after having done that the first time. And I say that as a guy that has done a lot of Destiny 2 raids. My gear hasn't changed that much. My gear hasn't become completely different. It's probably the same gear all of the time.
All right,
at some point the mechanics become very simple.
I'm gonna give you the easy example. That's a problem of scalability of design, and it happens everywhere. If you go to World of Warcraft and enter a raid that was designed for 40 people, you can go right now in World of Warcraft and enter a raid designed for 40 people and make it and do it by yourself.
Yeah, you can.
Right?
You can in World of Warcraft you can solo all the raids that are not the current expansion.
Yeah, which makes sense, right? It's aspirational goals that are no longer current because they're no longer everybody did it.
The goal is gone.
The goal is gone.
But this is happening with the current end game for both Division and Destiny.
That's a problem of designing end
has
game.
been done. Operation Dark Hours was done by 4 people 2 weeks after released.
Okay. It's going to happen eventually.
Let me say this.
Like 2 people 2 weeks after it was released. So it was meant to be the actual endgame activity.
Okay, but most people don't get to complete the activity with just 4 people.
Yeah.
Like most people still need the 8 to complete it.
You're talking about the 1% of the 10%.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The fact that there exist people who can do it doesn't mean that that's what most people experience with the game or with the content.
Okay.
Right? And that it keeps being an aspirational goal. Like there's a bunch of people that just like having the time to sit and do a raid is like the achievement of their game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, you tell me like Destiny 2 raids have the problem that you can do. There's people that can do, of course. But that's going to happen with the majority of endgame things if you are piling up content on top of each other and you're not careful to scale everything up, right? And there's another need about showing all content to new players, which is the intention behind why the racing wall are accessible, because you want to see the lore behind it and you want to go have a travel and like you don't want to
especially you don't want to have like 40 raids to run per week.
Yeah. And and it's kind of impossible to get people to like do a raid that is like 6 years old and probably they already did it because they've been playing since like forever. Even if you're a new player and you want to see it, right? That's another problem entirely different. But the end game is still the same. It's an inspirational goal. People, like, think about it. 90% of the people don't do raids in the majority of the games that we're talking about. Right? That's a lot. We are on the 10%. We have done raids. We should feel fortunate to actually do it because we have the time, the investment to actually experience it. We should feel proud to actually go and experience a raid and be able to do it, right?
That's our experience also says something very different as well. Because I remember that a couple months ago, I took you two, and 3 more people who were on their very first day playing Destiny 2, and we completed a raid.
The raid was old.
It's not that end game.
Yeah, I can like people can carry me through like the most difficult raid in WoW.
Yeah, me too. I don't
Yeah, I can get carried through a raid. That doesn't mean that I did it, that I did all the effort, that I got there, right? And it probably
that I know the mechanics.
Yeah, and probably if I want to like actually push it, like Mythic or like the most difficult. The problem is like the Division 2 and Destiny don't have that scalability in that endgame point, right? That's a problem of those particular games. They don't have difficulties in those activities, right? But if they have difficulty in those activities, probably everybody that goes and do a raid will tell you like, yeah, do normal raids, and that is like easy, and then you see it for the lore and blah 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 and accessible. But if you want to do like Mythic Plus raid,
but even the Division 2 added that, because
they are
they
difficult
now
like
have
after, right?
LFR.
Yeah.
And the normal raid.
Yeah. So that's a problem with scalability. How hard can you make the thing for the people who are actually pushing it? But you still have to think that that's 10% of your population who is pushing that sort of content, right? It's still aspirational, right? Saying
like I have only completed one raid in Destiny 2. And I see people that have done all of them. I say, yeah, that's pretty cool. I would like to do that, but
alas,
it's Destiny.
Yeah, I haven't done it. I would like to do it, and that's an end game. You can put yourself into the position of saying, all right, my goal is that goal that the game put me there to do all the raids through the game, and I could like dedicate myself for a month, looking for groups, organizing stuff, and do all the raids, and then I did it. Right? That's an end game. Right there, clearly designed. So I don't know what is your doubt.
I don't see a problem. Yeah, I still aspire to them.
Yeah, there you go. The definition works. All right. Yes? No? Maybe? Silence? Julian?
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
I still don't agree, but I'm not discussing the same point over.
So again,
there's no point in that.
My question was again, was the design philosophy of Division 2 enough to make an interesting endgame? To say then saying that they're gonna design a game around the endgame as they repeatedly said in the launch. That's my question. Compared to an endgame that just naturally occur, like in Diablo 3, kind of naturally occur as the leaderboards, because all the hype of the leaderboards is just being in the leaderboards and be like number one, and it's a temporal thing, because if you go for more time in Diablo 3, you eventually will decay. So you take just like a small screenshot of, I was number one on the leaderboard for X amount of time, number 10 in the leaderboards for X amount of time.
Yeah,
right?
I've done that.
Yeah, there you
go. I've done that.
So my question is like, what works best? What works best? A game like designed for endgame with proper purpose, or simply a game that develops an endgame naturally, or just put some goals and then see what happens?
I mean, I guess it depends on the kind of thing that you enjoy. Like, I really enjoy the Division 2 raid. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, I know the mechanics of all the 4 bosses.
Yeah.
It's fine. And if I have a group of people who know all the mechanics, it goes super smoothly.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, like, I see nothing wrong with that. Like, I still get to enjoy it. Like,
all right. And
I don't know. I like it. I don't.
Cool. And do you feel that the game prepares you for that, for the most difficult activities through all your journey?
At least the Division 2, yes, it has a really clear path of progression to gear up to a point when the only thing left for you to do is the raid. Like you have the invaded missions, or you change the difficulty.
And you feel it, right? You feel the heroic.
Yeah, you feel the change in difficulty. You start getting better gear. It's a pretty clear, straightforward path.
Yeah.
That takes you all the way to the door of the raid.
Yeah, and like if you compare it with Diablo 3,
Diablo 3 has a different problem, and is that you can play the story and be done with the game, and it kind of never show you that there is all this greater rift thing.
Yeah.
Like, it can go under the radar.
Yes. If you just do this story and then you finish the game, you're like, cool. Oh, there's an adventure mode thing. Huh.
But the game doesn't do a good job on
preparing
pointing you out where to go.
Yeah. for that.
Well, the Division 2 does a good job on like, oh, you finished the story, then the invasion thing happened. Now you have to go and do the things.
Yeah.
And they keep like pointing you to those things, and they have the weekly challenges things that tell you, oh, they have different difficulties.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
So yeah, they're very good as scaling you to that point. What do you think in the same thing? What do you think about Destiny 2? Well, Destiny 2 has that same like scalability to get you to rating. What do you think, Juliano?
I think it does.
All right.
Yeah, I remember that at some point, at least in vanilla, I got a quest or a bounty or something that was do the raid.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it was the shotgun quest. We still have that. The Leviathan shotgun quest. That was the quest that I remember this because we're discussing it about what is this quest about. And we just have to go and do the raid.
Okay, I remember what happened to me when I reached that point when I was playing vanilla.
Yeah.
And it was never clear to me if I was prepared for the raid, you know?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, at what point do you know that you're prepared for those activities?
Yeah, and in that regard, the Division 2 does a really good job of walking you through the difficulties of the game.
Yeah, because that's an excellent point, because you clearly see if you go and do the invasion legendary heroic. What is the highest difficulty?
Heroic?
Heroic.
Like that?
Yeah, it's like
hard. It's one of them. The next one.
I think it's like legendary invaded. Like it's is heroic invaded because it just appears in invaded.
Yeah.
In invaded mission, and if you do one of those invaded missions, you know that you're ready for the.
No, but more than that, like each week the game gives you challenges and things that is go do this mission in this difficulty.
Yeah.
Go do this mission in this other difficulty. Yeah, so basically the game is telling you there is this difficulty progression thing
that you should like
you should go through until you reach and until you can clear the hardest
content
thing on the list.
Yeah. All right.
And then at that point you feel like if you're able to move through the system.
Yeah.
Like at some point you say, okay, I feel like I'm ready for the raid.
All right.
Well, that never happened, at least in my experience. In vanilla Destiny 2. Because I was doing quests and things. The story, the thing, la 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 la. And then boom, a wild quest appear. Go do the raid. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Because it was just only, I was like killing cows and I collected things and then, go give the things to someone. And he told me, just go and do the raid.
Yeah. All right.
That's all I'm saying. And at the moment, I didn't know. I was.
So
am I prepared?
I have a question for you. Like, are you prepared for doing a raid in Destiny 2 if you just reach max level? Max light level? Julian? In your opinion?
Depends.
Of?
No, depends. So, for some raids, just reaching max light level and not bad weapon, but some of the raids are highly specific in terms of the gear that you need to have to be able to finish it successfully. Case in point, Garden of Salvation. If you don't have a good sniper or a good grenade launcher for it, you're not going to be able to finish it because it was designed for long range engagement. So there's no way to complete that with a short range weapon. All right. So it depends on the raid, but in general, I think the preparation is having as many guns as you can possibly have. It's kind of a collection thing, more like it.
More than
that's all fair and good, but I feel like the game never tells you.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is that clear on the game's part to
like if you're new to a game, like I was when I played vanilla?
No, it doesn't. No, it isn't. But I don't feel like that's real in any game. I don't feel any game actually prepares you for, because it's a different experience than the rest of the game is, at least in my opinion. So I feel that no game actually prepares you for the end game, which probably echoes back to what you said a little while ago about Diablo 3. Diablo 3 doesn't prepare you and barely even shows you that there are greater rifts to push.
Yep, that's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
To keep pushing.
Yeah.
Destiny doesn't prepare you for the raid in the sense that it doesn't tell you that you should have these and these weapons, and you should know these and these mechanics, and that you should have these types of coordination with other players. Division doesn't do that at all, actually. At least not from my point of view. At least not from my point of view. Yeah, the fact that Division is telling you that you have to do harder content doesn't tell you that you need to have certain elements or certain attributes on your gear to survive a raid. Because at least from the time I actually tried to do the Division raid in Xbox, the gear was, as it was with Guardian of Salvation, was highly specific. It was not something that you could just take whatever shotgun you could find, or you could take a sniper, because the actual environment design wasn't designed for that. The environment in the Division 2 raids, I think only the final boss was designed with long range in mind. Everything else is super tight. The space is super small, and using a sniper there is just not viable. It's not. It wasn't designed for that. That's my point. That's my point. That the game doesn't actually take you to, hey, you should have an AR. Hey, you should have a really good AR because you're gonna need it. The game just tells you to do difficult stuff.
But at
some point you're gonna crash against the wall because you need to have the really good to be able to function in the raid.
But that's fine. Like
I think that the Division 2 gives you like something to measure you with. Like the difficulty that we were talking, like the heroic invaded, gives you a way to measure whatever you're doing against like the most difficult. And if you can like clear that out, or like if you can like not have a super hard
you can
time doing
survive the enemies actually.
Yeah. You can go to the raid, even if your build is not the most appropriate for the raid mechanics. You can do it if you can survive the encounters on the difficulty in the invade heroic difficulty.
Yeah, but that's the point. So if everything in your build is designed around long range, really long range.
Yeah.
And I say that because I love the Division 2 sniper. I know it wasn't the best weapon, but I really loved the Division 2 sniper. And I really loved playing with a sniper and the other long range rifle.
Yeah.
Right? Which require a little bit more thinking, which require a little bit more long range, which require you to play differently than if you play with an AR. Right? And I could survive the heroic invasions. That wasn't the problem.
All right, I have something.
The problem was that when I came into the raid, when I came into Boomer, which was the first encounter.
Yeah, the DPS check.
There's no way that I could survive Boomer with a sniper and with two snipers and with a long range.
All right,
because Boomer doesn't give you the time to set yourself up to fire at him with a sniper.
Yeah.
The time that you get to actually damage him is way too small for me to be able to use sniper effectively.
I get that.
That's my point.
But my point is, like, in a bunch of different encounters in the Division, there's a lot of points when you cannot use a sniper. There's a lot of like small rooms. What did you do that?
You can always back down. So that's the whole thing. I remember that there was a particular section where you need to go down into the tunnel. I think it was one of the the guys that you hunt for the cards.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot the name. I forgot the name of the actual mechanic. There was a point where you go down to the tunnels, and the tunnels are really small. There are two tunnels, and there comes this guy with the machine gun, and you have to kill him, and there's virtually no space. Right?
Yeah.
But the game gives you the option to go back to the previous room, which is going up, and you can take him down from there with a sniper. So it's still viable. You can't do that in the raid
But
because the raid locks you up in a small room.
I don't think it's intended, because I play a bunch of sniper with Lucho when we're doing our first playthrough of Division 2, and there was a bunch of points where I have to like use the other gun which I had, which was a rifle, right? And a rifle is a mid-range kind of weapon, and it works in small spaces, and it's kind of like designed to be a complement if you're sniping, right? Which I understand, right? And like, if I was trying to
use the rifle in the raid either.
Yeah, I went with the rifle. There's like a bunch of rifle builds. Yeah, I actually went to do the raid with the rifle, and I get to the last boss.
Yeah, the main weapon.
Yeah, the rifle as a main weapon and using the sniper as a secondary.
Okay. That's not the experience that I had, and that's not the experience that probably most of the gamers in console.
That's like, a different discussion.
Yeah, that's a different topic. Like the difficulty between console and PC is something different. We're talking about like how the game takes you to those end-game experiences, right? How the game slowly teaches you what do you need to do an end-game things, right? So and then that's the question for me for Destiny 2. Like, I never like as a solo experience, because the highest difficulty missions in the Division 2, you can try to do it solo, and you can test yourself doing it solo, right? Even if it's extremely hard, right? It's because the difficulty is clearly designed not for you to do it solo, even if you have like the best build ever.
Yeah, right? Even for the best builds.
Yeah, but you can go and test that and say, oh, I can advance, like I can survive X things, so this should work in the raid because the difficulty is kind of the same. The damage and the scaling is the same, so I'm ready for doing the raid. And generally, Division tries to give you like options in what your loadout is supposed to be. That's why it has like a main slot and a secondary slot. So you can have like, and in the majority of encounters inside the Division, there's a bunch of small like close encounters and then long range encounters. No mission has only long range encounters, right? In the majority of the Division scenarios, right? So it's actually teaching you properly, like you have to be prepared for like sniping things from afar or hitting like a drone really far, or to fight dudes who are rushing you with a shotgun.
Also, there is one encounter in the Division at the end of one of the missions that you're like going through bunkers, and there's one guy with a hammer that is breaking a door.
Yeah.
Do you remember that encounter?
Yes.
That is super hard to do with rifles.
Yeah. Super hard to do with rifles. That's true. That is true. So I think Division does like with that mindset does a decent game. I don't think Destiny does a bad.
I think Destiny would benefit by having more dungeons.
Yes, that was my next point. So my next point is like, what is the raid and dungeons paradigm? What serves what and what should do what? And for me, at least, I think that the paradigm should be dungeons should be mini versions of raids. The majority of the time, they should. Yeah, that's my point. They should teach you,
and they are in Destiny 2. They are. We all agree with that. But
yes,
there should be more. Because those didn't exist at the beginning, so it felt like there was nothing in between.
Yeah, there was no stepping stone.
Well, now there are, and it makes sense.
Yes.
It's a good thing that they have it now. Yeah, there should be more.
And it works in a lot of games. Like I've done in like a bunch of. Now that I'm doing the last dungeons in World of Warcraft and the heroic version of they have a lot of more mechanics. So I'm getting used to like dodging shit. And like moving away from stuff and like warnings about mechanics.
The WoW dungeons do a good job, and they just start to show you the mechanics of things, and just you get used slowly to the basic mechanics of World of Warcraft encounters.
So yeah, I think that should be like the raid. But in the other sense, it's like, what do you guys consider a good raid? It is based on the difficulty of the raid. It is based on the mechanics of the raid. It is based on the design of the maps of the raid, or all the above. Or what is the magic behind the raids, right? What does it make them a good end game experience?
For me, is the coordination.
All right, the
like
gameplay.
Just the fact that you can get a group of people and all of them know what they are doing, and the whole experience goes smoothly. Like once that happens, that feeling of we know what we're doing. That's the feeling.
All right, what do you think, Juliana?
No. So I would say it's a combination of team play and difficulty.
All right.
And I say that because I participated in the day one of Garden Unleashing.
Yeah.
And you cannot imagine the sense of satisfaction that you have once you clear an encounter with contest mode on. Because contest mode makes stuff a lot more difficult, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just so let me the whole experience was that we finished half the raid with contest mode, right?
Yeah.
And we came next week after contest was off, and it just wasn't the same because it was way too easy. I mean, I remember the first time that we raided after contest was taken off, we were like, dude, this can't be this easy. I mean, this is way too easy. This is too easy for what we were doing before. So difficulty is also a part of the whole good raid design.
No, but for me, the difficulty is baked on the mechanics.
Yeah, but the whole that if you learn the mechanics and the mechanics, would that make it a bad raid?
If you what?
If you learn the mechanics and what? Sorry, you cut off for a second there.
Yeah.
So if you learn the mechanics, and after you learn the mechanics, it becomes easy to you, then what was good yesterday would become bad today?
No, it's still good.
Because the mechanics don't change.
Yeah, it's still good.
Okay.
Because it's all the knowledge. Like
you did acquire the knowledge. You take people because you have acquired that knowledge. It would be interesting. But if you want to keep pushing yourself, I'll probably be up for like a difficulty choice for those activities.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point. So the raid is good, but you need to keep pushing yourself. You need to keep pushing something, which is something that I really like. I don't know if this works in if World of Warcraft has something like this. I know Division 2 doesn't have it, but I don't know if WoW has it. But in Destiny, you have challenges. So you have the base raid, right?
Yeah.
The same thing that you've always had, and you have rotating challenges inside the raid.
Yeah.
So let's say that you have an encounter, and that encounter is take ball from point A to point B, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's the whole mechanic. Let's say the challenge for that particular encounter would be take ball from point A to point B without it ever leaving the hands of someone. You cannot drop it into the floor at any point in time. Okay. So that would be adding an extra mechanic on top of what already exists, and that's what makes the raid. That's what keeps the raid fresh and what makes it a good raid.
All right.
Because if it's just the same experience always, it gets stale at some point.
We have a bunch of examples of how this can be like sorted out to keep an activity challenging enough to keep being like a kind of aspirational goal. One way is that challenges like make like the player do certain particular stuff. In WoW, if I'm not wrong, correct me, Lucho, if I'm wrong. As I understand, they have different difficulties, and if you go to a certain difficulties, it adds mechanic into the raid, and it adds certain things about damage, and it adds like what a boss have. In the Division, they didn't feel like it was necessary because apparently the raid was difficult enough as it was.
And apparently it was because most people never completed it. So
yeah. So they took the metric of like 1% of our population did the raid, nobody else did it. And the other 99% in the Division 2, right? The other 99% were complaining because the raid was too difficult. Yeah. Right? So they just leave it like that, and they did an easy mode for the raid of Division 2. So what do you think, guys, is the best way to fix that problem? Just make like difficulty scaling, or like make a combination between difficulty scaling and put more mechanics, or do these kind of challenges as Destiny does it?
So the challenges are the same thing as adding the extra mechanic, because it's an extra mechanic on top of the already
They're close.
encounter.
Yeah, they're close. They're close. Yes.
No, they actually are new mechanics, because it's the encounter doesn't progress as well. So they're basically, they may have different names, but they're virtually.
Okay, all right. So what is the answer here? Like, do the bosses tougher, or introduce more mechanics, or just do both, or like make another data was like, oh yeah, if you go up a difficulty, then you get an extra room in the raid, or extends it somehow. What will be interesting? What do you think it would be? It will keep that experience fresh.
I don't know. I just enjoy doing them once a week. That's
What do you
like,
think?
I'm easy to please. Like,
Yeah, Lucho is easy to please.
Yeah.
What do
I
you
would
think,
say
Julian?
that a combination of the mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Adding new mechanics,
Yeah.
and adding new rooms, so to speak.
Yeah.
So making you take detours, or doing stuff that they haven't done before, which in the very end ends up being mechanics, would be the solution. I don't think scaling is the correct solution, because at some point you're going to notice that they're just reducing your numbers and upping the numbers of the enemy.
All right. Yeah, I agree to
So
that too.
it doesn't make any sense.
Like, I think the best way to do it is like scaling. Like, I don't think that scaling is not good, but I don't think it's the answer.
It's
I think
artificial.
yeah.
So
It's like you can do it a little bit.
It is not artificial,
why
because
not?
it's still something that you have to be prepared for. Like,
For the scaling, yeah. Could be.
yeah, like making the enemies hit harder. Yeah, like you have to be prepared for that. It's not artificial. Like, it's fine. Like,
It actually is, because you're just reducing some stuff and increasing some stuff, so that you have a tougher time.
yeah,
But
Yeah, the
you're not
difference is
making
like
the raid actually any more difficult.
yeah, if it's take you longer to kill something that is not hitting you as hard, which have happened sometimes, that is not the correct way to do it. I think the scaling is
That's
no.
not
But
natural. That's not something
what
that
that
that you
means is that
feel you're accomplishing something.
no.
You feel like you're just taking longer to do the same thing.
No, but what that means is that your gear is not good enough.
No, so that's the point. What happens when your gear doesn't grow anymore, but the scaling does keep growing?
yeah, that's a balance problem, right?
Yeah, that's a balance problem,
Yeah.
because at some point your gear is gonna stop growing. That's the reality of the game. At some point, your gear will just not get better.
Yeah, I think the
But
answer
if they
that
keep-
I think the answer
Okay,
that I'm
go on.
looking for is I think it's better to always put more mechanics instead of doing it like arbitrarily more difficult, and be careful with balancing that.
That was one of the complaints that a lot of people had with. That was a really big complaint that a lot of people, because it was very easy to see. The same enemy outside the raid would die let's say 0.7 seconds, and that exact same enemy inside the raid would die in 1.5. So it's the exact same enemy, right? But he has 4 times more health inside the raid than outside of it.
I really don't see anything wrong with that.
It's not something that is challenging your skill. It's something that is challenging your patience.
Yeah, and that's a thing.
You're not getting better because of the raid. You're just spending more time.
Well, that I think what Lucho has wants to say is like that could be a way that they're doing it.
That's fine.
It doesn't mean that it's a good way.
Yeah. That's my point. I'm not saying that it's not a way, because it clearly is. Massive thought.
No, what I'm saying
sure
is
a lot of people thought of it before that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like a good way it doesn't feel like a way that you're challenging the player. It feels like a way to make the content more, how should I put it? Kind of make the content less accessible.
Okay.
But it's not about skill. It's not about coordination. It's not about mechanics. It's not about anything like that. It's just us taking more time to do what we used to do before.
Sometimes that's valid for developers, so it's not that it's
I'm not saying that it isn't valid. I'm just saying that I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a really bad.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it has its place.
Yeah. Sometimes it has its place. Sometimes things just like takes forever to die, and then you have to be patient, and then you have to dodge more of the things that they do. It's valid. It's not the best solution, but it's valid. I think that's what Lucho's saying. Yeah?
No, I really think it has its place in certain situations.
All right.
It's not something that you will use all the time to scale all the things, but it has its place.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I also think it has its place. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done at all. But
that's how it sounded.
No.
And more mechanics again is not a good solution all the time.
True.
No. So what I'm saying is that and I feel like I should say that I'm sorry because that wasn't my intention. Was that scaling works, right? Scaling is good in some places, but it shouldn't be the main point behind your end game activities.
Yeah, the be all of everything. Yeah, clearly everything has to come with a balance.
What I would agree with that it shouldn't be the only thing.
Yeah,
but
that doesn't mean that it's not necessary.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be the main point because it could be a part. Yeah. But it shouldn't be the part behind the in-game activity, which is what it felt in Division 2. It felt like the raid wasn't.
It really didn't.
I think we all had different experience with that raid.
And that's another discussion for later. About
I think we all have different experience with that raid for some reason. All right, now to close this podcast, to close, do you have something to say, Julian? There?
Yeah, I guess that it shouldn't be the main point behind your design.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
All right, we have discussed the majority of the themes here for the main topic, but I have one last thing to discuss before we move on to actually questions and feedback, and is where is the point in in-game activities where you force the player to need other players to accomplish something? Should all the in-game be always being done with people, or is there a point when you can design an end-game when you can do it by yourself? Like, for example, for the Diablo 3, the majority of the Diablo 3 end-game, you can do it by yourself.
It has its place. Like you have to make a decision at the beginning of your design process. Like, are we gonna assign it for a co-op? Are we gonna assign it for a solo experience?
Can you have them both?
I guess it has to do with the way you design your game.
You probably have to design different activities.
Yeah.
To have both.
All right.
Yeah, but that goes back to the way you design the game.
Yeah.
So Diablo 3 from the very beginning was designed as a single player game. Right? It wasn't designed so that you would be forced to seek people.
Yes. Like,
right?
I agree. Like, you can group together, but
it's not needed.
That doesn't change anything in the game on itself.
Yeah. So in Diablo 3, it would make a lot of sense that the end game is solo based. It's single player game based, because you would be, if it weren't, you would be tacking on an entirely new form of play without any reason behind it other than you have to do this. Right? There would be no point behind it besides you forcing the player to do something different. When in the case of the Division, it makes sense that the end game is group based, because the game is, from the very beginning, it's telling you, hey, you should be grouping up with people. You can do it by yourself, but that's not what we want you to do. We want you to group up with people.
Yeah. The game.
So I guess
encourage you to.
It goes back to the way you design the game in general, not just the end game, but the whole thing in general.
Yeah, it's probably baked on how the systems for the whole thing work.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and the fact that you design something for groups, which goes back to what we're talking about. The fact that you design something for groups doesn't mean that solos cannot do it. I mean, clearly the dungeons in Destiny were designed for groups, right? They were designed for 3 people.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that a solo player cannot do it.
Yeah.
So the activity can be flexible enough so that both groups can be satisfied.
Yeah, I think I prefer that, for to be flexible, or for to be an easy way to like get random people to at least to do some activity that you need more people to do it.
But that's I guess problem. So if you don't like playing with others, because there's people that don't like playing with others, even if there's no communication involved.
Yeah.
You should give them an option.
Yeah.
No, I disagree. Like you can design because you can design a game saying, no, this game is a co-op game.
Yes. Okay.
And that's it. I don't have to cater to solo players because that's not what I'm designing.
No, totally. Yeah, that's not what I meant. What I meant. If your game has a solo component and it has a co-op component, right?
Yeah.
You should try at least. Doesn't mean that you have to. You should try at least to let these solo players experience the co-op part, even if it takes them 10 times more time than it takes for a group. Even if they have to be super high skilled and they have to be the very best among the very best to experience that.
Yeah, but
if they have the guts to do it, and if they can't do it, why not let them?
No. You can. I mean, why not let them? Because, for example, in a raid environment, like it is supposed to be the toughest activity in the game that rewards, I don't know, like cooperation and knowledge, and it's supposed to give you the best rewards in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a solo player shouldn't be able to do it.
Why?
At any because that defeats the whole purpose of being designed to
do coordination
with cooperation in
stuff,
mind.
Yeah.
Like,
no, because that goes back to what we said a while ago. There's if the raid is, say, 10% of the population.
Yeah.
At some point, 1% of that 10%, so the very top 0.001%, is going to want to try to do it solo. And why force them? Why? Yeah, it always happens. It always happens. I mean, you always see challenges in Destiny and Division, and in a lot of those games that say, "Hey, let's try to do a raid with 2 people."
No, I only seen that happen in the Division, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in Destiny as well.
Happen. Sorry, I've only seen it happen in Destiny. Sorry.
I've seen it happen in Division. Actually, I saw Marcos people 2 days after he was world first.
Yeah, but this is still not solo.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but that's the point. If he had stayed in Division instead of jumped onto other games,
but
he would have tried it with less people.
But there's clearly mechanics embedded into the raid,
into encounters
that makes it impossible to do it solo. Yeah.
That's what people used to say about Destiny 2 raids, and there's still people try to, and people can still solo encounters that would design for 6 people, not even 5.
But I think they're fundamentally breaking the systems to do it. I think, anyways. Yeah.
Not really. It ends up being a question of skill.
Okay.
No.
If you are good enough to do, I mean, and I say this from experience. If an encounter is meant to be for 6 people.
All right. Then I ask you this question: Can I go right now and do Leviathan solo?
You can't, because you don't have the skill. I know people. I've seen people do it. I know that people can do it, but you don't have the skill, and I don't have the skill, and Lucho doesn't have the skill.
How do I acquire the skill to do Leviathan raid solo?
Do Leviathan like 20 million times until you can start to not depend on anyone else.
Like, fundamentally, it makes no sense for me to try to do that raid solo. There's a bunch of situations where you cannot be in two places at once to activate certain stuff.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, but that's not my point. My point is, if they can do it, why not let them?
No, because the mechanics, that you build up in the encounters, should require people.
Yeah, but if they can do it, why not let them? Well, if the kid is good enough.
No. It's not about being good. It's about you need to press 2 buttons at the same time.
Yeah, that's my point. To press.
If he can do it, why not let him?
Can he? How?
He can throw a grenade at one side and shoot at the other.
That shouldn't be allowed. No, that shouldn't.
At the same time.
No, that shouldn't be allowed. That means that that's a mistake. Like,
why? That's the whole thing about player agent. If they can find a way to do
it. That's not player agency. that has nothing to do with player agency.
Yeah, because if they find a way to do something that you didn't mean them to do,
that doesn't have anything to do with player agency. That's just breaking the game. But that's fine.
Like, they're not breaking the game because they're not cheating in any way.
Yeah, the
breaking the game is not cheating.
This isn't about breaking the game. This is about having a skill.
Cheating, like breaking the game, is not cheating.
But what do you mean by okay? So let's go back. What do you mean by breaking?
Just finding things that are working in a way that it is not intended to work. Like pressing a letter with a grenade. That probably was not intended to work like that.
Not intended, or you didn't think of?
No, it was probably not
intended. Non-designer sits there and like, I'm gonna make this object so he's able to push it with a grenade because it makes no sense. The fact that
it's not the intended behavior of the thing.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
So some say yes, some say no. I think I would like the majority of Engine be able to do it solo, but I understand why it's necessary to do it with more people. I like the system that lets me find random people to do it because I feel like I'm kind of half doing it solo, but that's another thing.
That's a different problem.
Yeah, that's a different problem. Anyways, there is Lucho. Is there anything else that from the list that we have that we haven't discussed?
Not really.
No, I think we covered everything, right?
Yeah. We talked a little bit about PvP, which I feel must be represented.
Yeah. Which we did the point of like, the ladder is a thing that you do.
Yeah.
And the endgame is clear for us. All right, and that's end up deep dive for this second episode, which still clearly a hard topic to talk about and discuss, which is interesting, and we still have one more episode of this.
Yes,
clearly
Queen.
We still have one more episode of this.
Yes, Queen. Yes.
So with that, we're gonna move out to audience questions and feedback. Remember, you can write us, send us mail, letters, smoke signals, pigeons. I don't know if telepathic messages could count.
That would be scary.
All right, fair enough. You can pass by my stream and ask me questions, and I will take it for the podcast. You can leave it on the comment of wherever you're listening and watching at this. So, what are audience questions and feedback for this week is what is your favorite endgame activity, Mr. Juliano?
Can you repeat that? I lost you for a moment.
What is your favorite endgame activity?
Raiding. Easy.
Raiding?
Raids are the best endgame activity.
All right.
Yeah.
Any raid in particular that is your favorite?
Right now, say
The last Destiny Garden of Salvation, right?
yeah.
All right. That was easy. Lucho?
That's hard. Because I'm a collector at heart, so that's probably the thing that I enjoy the most.
Collecting as your in-game activity?
Yeah, but I do enjoy writing a WoW a lot.
So a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, but if I didn't have that, I'll probably just collect stuff, and I'll be happy with that.
Cool. And I think for me, my favorite in-game activity so far has been climbing ladders in competitive games.
Yes, you're a competitive person.
Yeah, I am of course the sweaty, and that's my favorite in-game activities. And that doesn't mean that I haven't enjoyed, like, especially like the mythic dungeons structure in WoW. It looks really similar to pushing Greater Rifts in Diablo 3. So that
it is basically inspired on that.
Yeah. So and I love pushing keys on Diablo 3. It was like insanity. So,
The problem is that like in WoW, you're gonna need people.
Yeah, of course, I imagine. But I think those are my favorite activities of in game. All right, and for our second question, do you miss games with no end game? Apparently, like recently in the industry, everything has to have an end game. There have been, of course, games fighting against it, and that's why we are happy because of Sekiro 1. Even if Sekiro has a weird end game, which you can have like Games Plus, but anyways, Julian, what do you say? Do you miss the old days with games just finish and then you move on and then you wait for the sequel and that was it? You did
Yes, totally. I like games without an end.
Yeah, it would be fantastic if we have.
Yeah, it would be amazing. I mean,
no, I disagree.
The game that that I've loved
finish,
the
Julian,
most
finish.
in the past, the game that I've loved the most in the past 5 years has been Witcher 3. Because that game has an end, and that's it.
It is such a beautiful game. Are you hyped for the Netflix series?
Fucking done with it, and that's it.
Hyped for the Netflix series?
Woo-hoo!
Have you seen the featurettes? They're so good.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lucho? Do you miss games with no end game?
No, I've always been a big fan of MMORPGs.
There we go. So he's
like
old.
since I discovered that MMORPGs are a thing, I've always loved them, and I love that they just exist, always there for me.
All right. I think for me it's like, I don't know. Like I sometimes I get tired of the endless content. Sometimes I just want a game to end. But sometimes I'm grateful because I always have places to go. Right? No matter what. But the thing is, like, the perspective is different because I like PvP games, and for me PvP games are endless. In what the end game I'm chasing is, right? So I think I feel like sometimes I want some games to end. And that's my point of view. I think I'm a mix of you too.
I just, and I probably have said this before, and is that the only hobbies that I like are the ones where I can waste infinite amounts of time.
That's not like the majority of the hobbies.
Yeah, that's why. Like I like my games to be hobbies. I don't like my games to be a thing that I finish
just a story,
after 40 hours,
like a series or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yes, I like. I like to be able to waste as much time as I want.
All right.
I guess that's what I'm saying.
Right. Fair enough. We all love games here. So yeah, there you go. That's our answer to that. And I think with that,
and that's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning in into A Sweaty Farmer and the Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter at Luis G. Polanco.
And I am the Long Name Gamer. You can find me on Twitter at the Long Name Gamer, and on Twitch on twitch.tv/LongNameGamerTV, where I stream Mondays to Fridays. Come on, Julian.
And sorry, I lost the promo. My name is Facebook at facebook.com/Julian Camilo Cuevas. Use social networks.
He does not. He does not use social networks. It's a shame. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design. See you next time.
Bye.
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 And did you know, depending on the cultivar, rambutan produces either functionally male, functionally female, or hermaphroditic flowers with both types of reproductive organs. Which is okay. Flowers are a rich source of nectar, which attracts bees, ants, and flies responsible for the pollination of this plant. Such a cool thing to be everything.
And around the 13th and 15th centuries, Arab traders made a major piano trade, introducing rambutan into some of East Africa.
All right.
And the rambutan tree reaches between 15 and 25 meters, or 50 to 80 feet in height, and has a straight trunk of up to 60 meters or 2 feet wide, and dense and usually spreading crown.
This was a really weird fruit.
I know.
It's like
It really was.
And I think my feeling is like this is a real difficult topic and a real weird one to discuss this long. So I'm gonna try to find the weirdest fruit that I can find and see what it is.
Okay.
What do you think? Was it too weird to find the fruit?
It is.
Should you try to like test it, rambutan, one of these days? It can be.
I think I've never seen that.
It can be. It's like it has hairs, and it can be a woman or a man.
That's pretty common.